Our captains this week on offense is Ryan Yurchek, on defense is Blake Keller, and on special teams Artis Johnson. So they'll represent us. And like always, when you go on the road, you better take your leadership and your toughness, and this will be no different. As always, we've got great respect for, Rick Stockstill in Middle Tennessee. He does a tremendous job coaching those guys. They're extremely well coached. They got good players, and be a great challenge to go on the road on a short week and play that football team. They're offensively, they had the best returning receiver in the league in James. His first-team All-American, was a tremendous player. He's back now. They got another guy that was, I think, all-conference freshman, Lee, is a tremendous player. So they got great skill. Offensive line's back intact, and they got a quarterback that's now played, got 5 or 6, 7 games under his belt. So they're a much better team offensively, and defensively they're just all over the place. He does a tremendous job of creating pressure and creating problems for you offensively. So again, we've got to have a great week and be able to identify where they are and get them blocked.
They have new defensive coordinator, and your offensive players have talked about they'll throw anything and everything at you.
They do. He's been very successful, wherever he's been. Scott Schaefer, he was at Stanford, I think at one point at Syracuse, at Western Michigan way back, and everywhere he's been, he's had a lot of success, and he's done a good job with that defense there too.
Do you feel like because starting quarterback's still out and they haven't really gotten into that offensive rhythm with Richie James back, do you expect to see a little bit of the Wildcat that they did a couple times last year, and you all have to prepare for that? I think
you can. They targeted him. Last week was his first game back. They targeted him 19 times. They tried to get the ball in his hands. That tells you what kind of player he is. 19 times, and I think they're going to do whatever it takes to get the ball in his hands. He'll be a week healthier right now, and he's, like I say, he's got a game under his belt from coming back. So there's no doubt that they're going to try to get the ball in his hands. But Lee's an excellent player, and they got a freshman tailback. The Anderson kid, number 11, that's has stepped up and done some really nice things for him. So all three of those kids have the ability to beat you in space and are excellent players.
With Anderson out of the backfield, it seems like he's just as big of a threat receiving as what he is running the ball. And is that something you got to keep your eyes right at the safety level with the emphasis you're putting on James and Lee this week?
All the above. Both those wide. And again, they got tremendous skill. And Anderson's another guy that, as you mentioned, they'll get the ball, they'll throw the ball to him as much as they hand it to him, and he's a good route runner. Again, he's good in space, and he's similar to what James, as far as his skill set's concerned.
What's the biggest growth you've seen in Urzua, their quarterback, from the time that you saw him last year here in his first start?
Well, I think anytime he's got some experience, and he's got a grasp of of Coach Franklin's offense, and he understands what they expect and what they want out of the offense, and he's just a lot more comfortable right now, running the offense. So anytime you can get guys with experience at that position, games under their belt, they're going to be a lot better than he is.
You've seen Tony Franklin offenses throughout the years. What is the thing that separates his offensive scheme sometimes in preparation from other guys?
Well, he does a tremendous job of getting the players that he has that can make plays the ball and get them in space, and he just he takes advantage of the playmakers that he does have, and again finds a way to get them the ball any way, whether it be the Wildcat or hand it to him or screening the ball to him or throwing the ball down the field or whatever. But he's going to take advantage of his personnel and does a good job with that.
He put something that while you're playing better on the road this year, you guys have acquitted yourselves pretty well. Obviously, NC State, Cincinnati, Charlotte.
Yeah, well, I think I think a lot of I've always felt that anytime you're on the road, you have to be extremely tough football. I think we're a tougher football team. I think we got a lot of guys that are extremely tough-minded players, and I think the leadership part of it. I think I said, open it up here, you got to take your toughness and your leadership, and with the addition of Blake Keller being a captain, I think that's 14 different guys in just a short. What we got, we're 6 weeks in right now that have had the opportunity to be captains. So I think that gives you a lot of leadership on that team. That anytime you go on the road, you've got to have that, and I think that's helped us tremendously.
You got two guys that made their second start this week, Homer and Haynes. They both made a pretty big impact. Just talk about them.
Well, they both players that developmental players that Homer's, and again Alex done a tremendous job with all three of those freshman offensive linemen. Tariq Adams and Homer and Millette and of course Levi and Dowry and Deaver's done a great job bringing those guys along too. But those three freshmen have all played well. Hames probably did play his best game last week, and he was banged up there a little bit for a couple of weeks. He played extremely well early on. Went through about a 2-3 week stretch there. We had an issue injury-wise, but he's come back and played really well Saturday. We're going to need him to continue to do that. But he just, he's a good player, and he's starting to develop and grow up. And like I said, I think the development of young players is evident with what you've seen, because we got a lot of young guys that are playing. I think initially we had one senior. I know Keller was the only senior on defense starting, and Yurchek was the only senior on offense. There's a lot of young new players that have started to develop and that need to continue to grow.
When you get ready for a short week like this on the road, what do you tell those younger guys who have been getting more and more experience about how to handle this short week?
Well, everything's all about preparation. Everything got bumped up a day. We had to come back here, told them after the game, enjoy it for a couple of hours, but we got to come back here Sunday ready to go, because Sunday was Monday. So we actually had a Monday practice, Sunday evening, and last night we were here at 7 o'clock under the lights having a Tuesday practice. So, everything just gets, it's a grind, and it is a grind. Some of these young guys, when you get into 7 weeks, 6, 7 weeks, 8 weeks into the season, what separates, teams that end up going in a positive direction, end up being successful, is can you handle the grind part of it? Because it gets to become a grind later on in the season. But those young kids have to embrace it. They got to take care of themselves. And they got to eat right. They got to get the proper sleep. They got to do everything they got to do to come back and recover today to have a Wednesday practice after walking out of here about 10 o'clock last night. So there's a lot of things that go into it, and those guys have to be able to handle that.
It's fun for you. You get to play a little earlier. You don't have to wait around as much. You're the game on TV. Everyone's watching.
Well, I told them that. Every Friday night in the hotel, we're sitting around watching everybody else play. That's what we have what we call our best Fridays in football. We're sitting there as a team watching ESPN in a room, watching whoever's on that Friday night. Well, that's what all these other teams are going to be doing this Friday night, watching us play. So you get the opportunity to, a lot of college football teams out there sitting in their hotel rooms getting ready to go play, watching us play, and your peers will get the opportunity to evaluate you and watch you. So our kids should be excited about that.
Seems like there is an excitement with a 5-1 start, but there's also an underlying hunger because the team feels like they haven't put it all together yet.
Well, I think when you're a young team and when you have a lot of players that as much invested as what these kids have, you got to get better every week. That's what great teams do, is they continue to get better every week. And up to this point, we've done that, and we got to continue to do that.
Defensively for you all, C.J. Rivas is a guy that came into the lineup last week, and first drive, ODU's driving down, he finds a way to make a play and get you all off the field. Is it good to see his confidence level back to that level? And what did you see through the adversity that he faced earlier this year?
C.J., I thought he played his best game on Saturday. Against Old Dominion, that was his best game he's played since he's been here, and he needed to do that. I think he'll tell you he hadn't played very well up to that point, and he had to get in there and play, and Drayton didn't have a great week of practice, so C.J. got to start and played well, and Drayton watched him. So, that being said, Drayton's got to come back this week and have a great week of practice so he can get himself back in there and play. So I was proud of the way C.J. handled it, and he went in there and played well, and you saw the results. So that's good. But we need our seniors, and we have very many seniors, but the seniors we do have, we need them playing their best football, and he did that on Saturday, and it's going to be important he does that again on Friday night.
How much does Gant's play kind of inspire those guys? He's been a man out there.
He has. He's tough, and he makes plays, and those there's three. And Nazi Johnson's another guy that doesn't get mentioned a lot, but goes in there and plays extremely well. Another freshman. You got Drayton, a freshman. He's a freshman. Gant's a sophomore, that have all stepped up, and along with C.J. gives us 4 guys at that safety position that compete for playing time, which is a good thing. And of course, Nazi doubles up as a nickel, which as a starting nickel. So they're all seeing a lot of work. And the guy but Malik Gant has been very consistent with his play, and he's played well about every week. And he's just a big, physical, tough kid that rubs off on the rest of the defensive players.
Been the numbers typically on your missed tackles? They haven't reached double digits, have they?
No. I don't think it's been close. And I think the one thing that we have done is we've been an excellent tackling team, and for every game we've played, and that'll be critical again when you're playing a guy like James and Lee this week, and of course that tailback Anderson. You better get those guys on the ground, so you're going to have to do a great job of tackling this week in space.
The job of Levi Brown, does it get amped up a little bit this week with identifying some of the stuff, since it seems kind of helter-skelter what Middle Tennessee is going to bring?
Well, there's no question. I mean, him and Chase both, have to do a tremendous job of, anytime with their odd package especially, it's hard, their indicators at times are hard to identify, but we spent a lot of time on it this week. We got a lot of time between now and when the foot hits the ball at 7 o'clock on Saturday or Friday night, so we got there's a lot of preparation that's going to take place between now and then to be able to handle, what they do.
Talk about needing the seniors to play well. You mentioned Revis, Allen. He's gotten back in the starting lineup the past 2 weeks. Is he hitting his stride as well?
Yeah, he's done a nice job. Allen, like I say, we don't have many, but Blake Keller's playing his best football. Yurachek is. Offensively, Addison, we're not seeing a lot of, but he's playing really well. He's back healthy now this week, should play a little bit. And but all those seniors that we do have, like I say, there's not many, but the ones that are playing. And even, the guys we don't talk, Pittman is a guy that he kind of does everything for us. Plays on all 4 special teams and does a great job and plays some fullback and does some things, but he's playing really well too. So if that continues, we'll have a chance of being successful.
You go through, and you all have had an emphasis on the running game, and it's predominantly been Davis and King. But in a fourth quarter situation, having a 230-pound back like Anderson that can come in and sort of punish teams down that stretch, was that a needed spark on Saturday?
It was great. It was good to see. It's good to see that one of the offensive line I thought did a tremendous job. But see Anthony go in there and finish the game like he did was huge, and probably need to play him a little more, to be honest. He's a good back, and he's practiced well. And with Keon and Tyler and him, are 3 guys that I trust can go in there and play well, and I'm sure you'll see all 3 of them. Okay, thanks, guys. Thanks.